Good day, students of Federal Government College, Port Harcourt. You are welcome to E-Class Learning. Our topic for today is Transportation System in Nigeria, Geography SS2 class, presented by Dr. Mrs. Okobe Florence. Lesson objective. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to define transportation, identify and describe different modes of transportation system in Nigeria, highlight the merits and demerits of each transportation system in Nigeria, explain the contribution of transport in the economic development. Lastly, identify transportation problems and suggest ways of solving them. Meaning of transportation. Transportation is defined as the movement of persons, goods and commodities from one geographical location to another. Transportation can also be defined as means of transporting passengers and goods from place to place, which can be through air, land, or water. There are four major transportation systems in Nigeria, which are land, air, water, pipelines. Land transportation. This is the movement of persons, goods, and services from one location to another on land. Land transportation are subdivided into three major types. We have the human porterage and the use of animals. We have the rail transportation. We also have the transportation by road, that is the use of vehicles. Human porterage and the use of animals. This was the chief means of transport in pre-colonial days in Nigeria. Human porterage is mostly used in the southern part of Nigeria to move goods such as foodstuff from the production center to the markets. In the northern part of Nigeria, animals are commonly used. Animals such as donkey, oxen, horse, mules, etc. are used to convey goods such as groundnuts, cotton, household materials, food items, and at times people from one place to another. We are now on rail transportation. This system is the slowest and cheapest means of transportation in Nigeria. The main aim of introducing rail transportation was to connect the seaport to the mining and farming part of the country. The rail transport are Apapa in Lagos and Port Harcourt Rail, which link up with the agricultural and mining areas in the interior part of the country. These rail transportation are mainly used to move bulky goods that cannot go through road conveniently. We are now looking at the advantages of rail transport. One, it provides outlets for the transportation of cash crops and mineral to the ocean port at Lagos and Port Harcourt. Two, it creates access to parts of the country which are far from navigable waterways. Three, it provides means of bringing bulky goods from the port into the interior of the country. It provides means of bringing bulky imported goods from the port into the interior of the country. It helps to link up important cities, and it's also used for postal services. Here are the disadvantages of rail transport. One, it involves high cost of construction and maintenance. It is very slow and not suitable for transporting perishable goods like tomato, grain, etc. Constant stopping at each station and changing of passenger wastes a lot of time. Rail transport is very slow. Inadequate funding. Lack of technical knowledge lead to poor maintenance culture. Importance of rail transport. It opens up new areas for economic development. It creates employment opportunities for people that are searching for jobs. It provides tourism. It helps to link up important cities and one settlement to the other. We are here looking at railway network in Nigeria. From the map, you can see where the star is indicating the major terminals. Most of the terminals are Maiduguri, linking to Jos. From Unguru down to Kura, Kaduna. Abuja is one of their major terminals, where it links to Lagos, Warri, and Port Harcourt. Road transport. Road transportation, this involves the use of motor cars, buses, motorcycles, lorries, trucks to move people, goods, and commodities from one place to another. The road network in Nigeria are classified into 3 types, namely Trunk A, Trunk B, and the minor road. The Trunk A road, these are roads constructed and maintained by federal government, e.g. Trunk A, these are roads constructed and maintained by federal government, e.g. Lagos and Port Harcourt to the northern part of the country. These heavy trucks move mainly on Trunk A road. We have the Trunk B road. The Trunk B roads are constructed and mainly by the state government. Example, road linking towns and cities to other states. While the minor road, this is also called the Trunk C road. These are maintained by local government authority. Advantages of this road transport. One of the major advantages is that it is the most common means of transportation. It provides door-to-door services as ETC, that is, it can get to anywhere within the country and no part is cut off from the rest. It makes goods available where they are scarce. Agricultural raw materials such as cocoa, palm produce, timber, etc. are mostly conveyed by road to the processing factories scattered all over the country. It facilitates the movement of people within a short distance. We are now looking at the disadvantage of road transport. Roads are expensive to construct and maintain. Roads are difficult to construct, especially on highland and swampy areas. Amount of goods and passengers carried by road is limited. Roads are more prone to accident than any other means of transport. We are also looking at the limitations of road transport because road transport has its limitations. 1. Presence of highlands and other rugged relief. We also have the presence of swampy areas, soil erosion caused down by heavy rain, presence of many waters. Now we are now looking at the solution to this road transport. Roads should be constructed with gutters or culverts. Constructions of flyover in marshy areas. Construction of bridges across rivers. Funds should be made available to maintain roads. There is a diagram illustrating the major road network in Nigeria. From the diagram, you can see that it cuts across all the 36 states of Nigeria, while its main capital is Abuja. Air transportation. This is one of the major types of transportation system in Nigeria. Air transport, this is the fastest and the most efficient means of transportation in Nigeria. Air transport involves the use of helicopters, jets, aeroplanes, and rockets to move people and light goods from one place to another by air. It is a reliable modern means of transportation which provides 2 types of services, known as the domestic and the international services. Types of air transportation services. We are looking at the domestic services. This is the movement of people and mails within the country. Mostly Nigerian Airways and other private airlines such as Okada and Oriental Airlines. We are looking at the international services. These are air transport services that link Nigeria with other countries in Africa and other continents, such as countries like Ghana, Great Britain, France, US, Canada, etc. Advantages of air transport. It provides fast means of delivering goods. It is one of the safest means of transportation. It links almost all countries of the world, provided there are landing facilities. It is convenient means of transporting perishable and fragile goods. It saves times in good delivery. We are now looking at the disadvantages of air transport. 1. The cost of operating airline and facilities are very high. 2. There is problems of plane crashing. It is difficult to maintain and spare parts very expensive. 4. It cannot be used to carry heavy and bulky goods. 5. It is easily affected by bad weather, which make visibility very poor. How could these problems of air transport be solved? Now we are looking at the solutions to the problems of air transport. 1. Adequate and genuine spare parts should be procured. Loans can be sourced locally or abroad to finance the huge cost of operating air transportation. 3. There should be improvements in technology. 4. Inter-region trade within the region should be improved. Water transportation. As one of the major types of transportation, this involves the use of water bodies. When we say water bodies, we are looking at lakes, ocean, rivers, etc. to transport peoples and goods from one place to another using canoe, boats, ship, and other vessels. Water transport is subdivided into 2. We have the inland navigation and the ocean navigation. Inland waters, this involves transportation by rivers, lakes, lagoons, etc. to move peoples and goods within a given country using boats, canoe, and other smaller vessels. We are now looking at the ocean navigation. The ocean navigation involves the transportation of oceans by sea using ship, ocean-going vessel, oil tankers, etc. It also moves goods from one place to another within a country or between countries. Here are the advantages of water transport. One of the major advantages is that it is the cheapest means of transportation. 2. Cost of construction and maintenance is low and only restricted to ship and ports. 3. It is used for transportation of passengers and goods in areas where roads are terribly bad. 4. It is used for transportation of passengers and goods over a long distance. 5. It can be used to carry heavy and bulky goods like vehicles. One of the major disadvantages is that water transport, it is the slowest means of transportation among every other types of transportation system. It takes a long time to get to its destination. Cost of acquiring a ship or vessel is very high. Cost of ports, constructions, and maintenance is very high. Lack of technical knowledge in ship maintenance, especially when there is outbreak or there is issue in the ship. Now we are looking at the solutions to the problems of water transport. The major solution is that the rivers should be dredged regularly. Adequate and genuine spare parts should be procured for ship and vessel. Loans can be secured. Loan can be sourced locally or abroad to finance the huge cost of seaport constructions and maintenance. There should be protective device against dangerous water animals. There is a diagram here showing the Nigerian navigable waterways. The blue lines is trying to tell us where the waterways pass in the map of Nigeria, which is illustrated with the aid of the key. Pipeline transportation. This is the mode of transportation used to move commodities from place to place. It may be from oil producing areas to refinery centers and to the markets. It can also be used for transporting grains and transporting water. Pipelines are commonly used in countries where oil is produced. They are used for transporting petroleum and gas from the producing center to the refineries and from the refineries to the consuming centers. We are here looking at the advantages of pipeline transport. It can easily be laid through difficult terrains, such as swamps and hills, without involving heavy expenditures in the form of bridge or tunnel, and land reclamation and road cutting as road and rail transport require. 2. Once laid pipelines do not require regular maintenance. 3. Pipelines make the supply of products, especially petroleum, gas, and water, more reliable and steady. 4. Pipelines transportation helps to eliminate or reduce the number of vehicles, especially tankers and big lorries, on the road, and this reduces traffic congestion and accidents on roads. Disadvantage of pipeline transport. Few disadvantages is stated here. 1. It can be easily destroyed by mischievous elements or during war or civil disorder. 2. It may also be possible to steal from the material being transported by simple tapping from the pipeline at remote places. We have come to the end of the lesson. There is an assignment stated here. 1. In what ways can transportation contribute to the economic development of any country? 2. Describe 3 disadvantages and 3 limitations of water transportation. The B part is explain 2 advantages of pipeline transportation. Thank you and stay safe.